What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another video. If you don't know who I am, that means you know. I'm Mark. What's good with y'all? Go check out my other videos. Check them out. Check them out. But first, stay on this one. This is a pretty important video. All right. So, you read the title. You saw the thumbnail. No more beating around the bush. Let's get right into it. Another episode of Debunking Anti Gunners. So, what's this one about? You already know what this is about. The myth that the AR-15 is the weapon of choice, quote unquote, for all mass shooters. Now, here's my problem with that, right? When people make such a bold statement like that, it's very easy to disprove, because when they say something as bold as, oh yeah, it's a weapon of choice for all mass shooters, all that requires is one person to not use that weapon in a mass shooting, and you're disproven. But that's not even what I'm here to do. I'm only not here to, I'm not only here to just get that out the way, just disprove it that easy. I'm here to prove it's the exact opposite. All right. So let's get into it right now. So I just did some research. It's on Statista. You can look this up yourself. All right. Between the years of 1983 to 2023, so in 4 decades, 40 years, that is almost twice my age. Let's get that out the way, guys. The number of rifles used in mass shootings, I believe it said it was around 70-ish. 70-ish. Sounds about right here. Now, of course, guys, that could be referring to number of weapons used, and then they also have a different number for number of incidents, like actual situations. But regardless, not here nor there. Right? Around 70 is what it said. For shotguns, it was around 35-ish, maybe mid to high 30s is what I believe it was. Handguns, it was almost 170. So let's get this out of the way. Not only are handguns used twice as much, over twice as much, almost 3 times as much, but they're not anywhere near as demonized as the AR-15 is. Now, I'm sure some of y'all are wondering, well, you're sitting here making some pretty bold claims here that, it's not the AR-15 that, is the weapon of choice for most mass shootings. It's, it's a handgun. And yeah, these seem like pretty bold claims considering what is most commonly publicized in our media, and let me just, pull a couple of examples just out of my head, right? We got Sandy Hook. We got Marjorie Stoneman Douglas, aka the Parkland shooting. Let me see here. We got a good few more that I can bring up that, these tragedies. I believe. Wait, no. Sorry, I was mistaken. I was going to say the Louise Market shooter, but I believe he used 2 shotguns. Regardless, I'm getting off topic here. My whole point, though, is that these stories that are highly publicized and pushed and put to the forefront of what's going on in our world and on our news, that's all we're going to think of, guys. That is the only thing we're going to think of. It has gotten to a point to where I heard somebody say that they genuinely hear the words AR-15 and the first thing that goes to their mind is mass shootings. And that's ridiculous. You know what I mean? People are trying to claim that the AR-15 is synonymous even with mass shootings because of the fact that the media has so highly publicized some shootings that have used this rifle. Now, some people like to make the argument, oh, well, the AR-15, the reason why it's, the weapon of choice is because of how easy it is to kill people and how easy it is to use. I mean, sure, I guess you can make that argument. But here's the truth of the matter here is that guns weren't made to, look, guys, guns weren't made with the purpose of, oh, yeah, I'm going to grab this gun, right? And if I'm using it, it's not to do the job. There's no one's making or buying, actually, buying a gun for that purpose. Unless you're buying a plinking gun, things along those lines, a lot of people are buying guns that they want to do the job. All right, the AR-15 will do the job. So it's unfortunate that the job that this person decided he was going to use this tool for was something so tragic along those lines. However, that has nothing to do with exactly what the gun he used was. It should have to do with his actions. It shouldn't have to, do with the weapon that was being used as a whole. Now let's go back to statistics themselves. As I said, we're looking at about we're looking at over twice as much use from mass shooters for handguns than we are pistols. Handguns and pistols. Sorry, guys. Once again, I've been up for a good bit here, guys. Once again, as I said before, we are seeing over twice as much use for mass shooters with handguns than we are with AR-15s, or really rifles as a whole. It didn't even just specify AR-15s. It said rifles. So let's ignore the fact that, the rifles category is less than half the size of the handguns category. But then you got to fraction that down to how many of those were AR-15s. And then you have, you see what I mean? It's such a, people make these arguments that, oh, well, it's a weapon of choice. It's such a stupid argument. Because guess what, right? The AR-15 is my home defense rifle. At the moment, that is my weapon of choice when it comes to defending my home with a rifle. What does that have to do with it? It does, I'm choosing it for the exact same reasons. It does the fucking job. All right. Now, people may try to make the argument, oh, well, if this gun does so well, why don't we ban it? Because you can't. Let's ignore the fact that, we have the Second Amendment, which completely stops you from banning the AR-15. All right. Let's ignore that. Let's talk about the fact that people will not comply. Plain and simple. People will not comply with that because it is something so obviously that a ban on the AR-15s would be such an obvious political move, such an obvious infringement that it would, honestly, it would just create major unrest. It would cause a fuck ton of defiance. It would cause a bunch of just, nope, fuck off. That's all it would cause, right? So, just had to make sure the microphone was still on here. You know what I'm saying? We've had people make these arguments. They've all, people have tried making arguments against AR-15s. Oh, well, they keep being used in mass shootings, but they're not being used as much as handguns. We're not going after handguns, though. Y'all aren't sitting here talking about, oh, well, we need to get rid of these handguns. And it's funny because, let me rephrase. Let me take back my last sentence there. Y'all weren't talking about getting rid of handguns or anything like that until about a year or so ago when Biden decided to spout, everybody knows the famous line, the 9mm bullet will blow the lung out of the body. Everybody knows that famous fucking dumb line. All right. Y'all weren't sitting here talking about, oh, yeah, we need to take handguns or anything along those lines, until around then, which, by the way, y'all also wouldn't be able to accomplish. So the fact that we even make the argument against AR-15 for, oh, yeah, we need to ban it because it's a weapon of choice for mass shooters, it's, all mass shootings have been done with AR-15s, all of that, it's, one, factually incorrect, all right? Two, stupid to even think that that's a justification for banning a gun. And three, let's ignore the fact that it's incorrect for a second, all right? Three is that it's just dishonest. It's extremely dishonest because whether you knew it or not, the matter of fact is that you didn't even put in the effort to see if if your absurd claim was going to be truthful. So it's honestly irritating. It's real. It's disrespectful, honestly, to us. You know what I mean? And give me a second. It's disrespectful because of the fact that when people make a statement or a claim like, oh yeah, well, the AR-15 is a weapon of choice for all mass shooters, you're damn near implying that everybody who owns an AR-15 is going to become a mass shooter. You're damn near implying that all the people, over half of the country who You know, I won't say over half the country owns AR-15s. I will say for a fact over a quarter of the country owns AR-15s. To say that a quarter of the country will become mass shooters just because of a item they own, it's insanely disrespectful. You know, we don't make the same argument that, you know, people are going to go on mass stabbing sprees because they have knives. We don't make the same argument that, you know, people are going to go around and just start beating people to death because they have a hammer. You know what I mean? We don't go around making those claims because we know that's not factual. Making a claim like that, stating, "Oh yeah, well people are going to start doing this because they own these items," is just dishonest. It's not factual, and honestly, it's not fair. Because while there are going to be some people who, you know, commit crimes like that and do tragedies like that, you're saying everybody's going to do that. You're putting that blame on everybody else. People who have done nothing wrong. Some people who have lost family members during such tragedies. It makes it disrespectful. It's a serious problem considering the fact that we don't have these same conversations about anything else. You know what I mean? We'll see videos of, you know, fucking 8 people jumping a kid, right? That kid ends up dead. We're not sitting here saying that the second we get into, you know, let me calm myself. We're not sitting here saying we're going to fucking ban hands and feet. We're not sitting here saying that we're going to ban knives every time someone gets stabbed. But every time a mass shooting with an AR-15 happens, what's the first thing that actually not even just with an AR-15? There's literally been mass shootings that have happened that an AR-15 was not even present at. And what's the first thing they talk about? We need to ban the AR-15. We need to ban. They're like, no, bro, you sound fucking stupid. Y'all sound so fucking dumb. Like, here's a perfect example. Here's a perfect example of just the dishonesty that anti-gunners will claim. Because you got to understand, when they can say something all they want to, they can make the claim all they want to. It doesn't mean it's true. All right. I believe the name of the school was the Covenant School. It was the Covenant Christian School. It was a shooting out in Nashville. Kel-Tec Sub 2000 was the firearm used. Why the fuck Biden sat here and said 2 AKs were used? What? Huh? These people are they're just intellectually dishonest. They're not gonna give you the whole truth. All right. So when they say here and make a claim like, oh, the AR-15 is it's the weapon of choice, for all mass shootings, things like that, they're not gonna tell you the truth. They don't have the knowledge to tell you the truth, honestly. So even if they did have the integrity to tell you guys the truth on this, they wouldn't, because they can't. They don't know how to. They don't know what the truth is. So even if I'm getting off topic here. I'm getting on a rant, and I can feel my blood pressure starting to rise here. Let me go ahead and slow myself down for a second. Let me stop myself here. All right. So, look. Long story short, the numbers don't lie. The simple matter of fact is that if handguns are being used more than twice as much as rifles as a whole, not even just the AR-15, but then rifles as a whole in mass shootings, the AR-15 clearly can't be the weapon of choice for mass shooters. With that being said, y'all make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share, hit that bell. When you hit that bell, hit all. And because you agree with me, all right, one of the dumbest claims you can make in the world, knowing the numbers, is that the AR-15 is the weapon of choice for mass shooters. If you agree that's one of the dumbest things you can ever make the argument for, since you now know the numbers, y'all make sure to go ahead and check out my other videos. Y'all make sure to stay legal, stay safe, stay dangerous. Have a good one, y'all. Peace.